A famous actor makes a cruel joke at Barron Trump's expense, mocking him in front of hundreds. But what happens next? Barron's response not only silences the entire room, it flips the script entirely, leaving the actor and the crowd speechless. This is a moment that proves Barron Trump is no stranger to handling pressure. His reply will leave you stunned. Trust me, you don't want to miss how he turned the tables. It's a night full of glamour and glitz, the kind of night where stars align, the biggest names in Hollywood fill the room, and every second feels like a scene from a movie. But what happens when the spotlight shines on a name that isn't a celebrity, a name that's known worldwide, but not for the reasons you might think? Barron Trump, yes, the son of former President Donald Trump, steps into the scene at one of the most anticipated events of the year. Dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, his presence immediately stands out. But it's not for the flash, the drama, or the paparazzi. It's because Barron has this quiet confidence, this aura of someone who's used to the pressure, who's been in the public eye his whole life, but handles it all with maturity beyond his years. The crowd is buzzing, everyone's talking, and as Barron moves through the gala, there's a sudden shift in the room. A famous actor, someone who's made headlines for being outspoken and controversial, sees Barron. With a grin, they make a remark, and the room erupts in laughter. But it's not just any joke, it's aimed directly at Barron. Now the tension is high. The camera zooms in on Barron's face. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't react the way many might expect. Instead, he stands tall, his face composed, showing no signs of anger or embarrassment. This is the moment the world is waiting for. How will Barron respond? What will happen when the son of a former president faces public ridicule from one of the world's biggest actors? Stay tuned. The moment Barron Trump decides to speak is one no one will forget. The glitz of the red carpet suddenly turns to tension when the famous actor, known for his sharp wit and even sharper tongue, locks eyes with Barron Trump. Without missing a beat, the actor makes his move. With a smirk, he launches into a comment. Something designed to land hard to draw laughter from the crowd. The words are cutting, the crowd chuckles, and the moment feels almost scripted. It's the kind of remark that would normally send anyone scrambling for a response, or worse, retreating in embarrassment. But Barron? He's unfazed. His face remains calm, stoic even. The actor's eyes gleam as he watches Barron's reaction, waiting for the emotional hit, the sign of vulnerability. But Barron stands tall, not flinching, not even a hint of discomfort crossing his features. He's dressed in a sleek black suit, his posture impeccable. His presence in the room is undeniable, and yet here in this charged moment, it's as if he's standing in complete silence, a calm amidst the storm. The camera zooms in on Barron's face, his expression unreadable. The laughter of the crowd fills the room, but there's a noticeable shift, a small crack in the tension. It's clear that Barron's demeanor has commanded respect. He hasn't fallen into the trap, hasn't given in to the cheap jab. But the actor isn't done. His smirk widens, and he presses on, determined to get a reaction. The crowd, still riding the wave of amusement, waits for the next verbal blow to land. It's a public spectacle now, all eyes on Barron as he faces this humiliation. Yet somehow, there's something different about him. He's not the child they expected to be crushed by the ridicule. He's something else entirely. The room holds its breath, wondering if Barron will finally crack. As the actor's cruel words linger in the air, the room is alive with tension. The crowd's energy shifts in an instant. At first, there's laughter, a few snickers, some chuckles. But the atmosphere quickly changes. Whispers ripple through the crowd as people begin to look around, gauging the mood. They had expected Barron to crumble, to react with embarrassment or defensiveness. But instead, they see a young man who stands unmoved, unbothered by the verbal barrage. The actor, basking in the fleeting moments of attention, looks to the audience, his face alight with self-satisfaction. He's waiting for a sign, a wave of approval, the echo of more laughter. But something is off. As the seconds pass, that initial energy begins to wane. A few individuals in the crowd exchange glances, some squirming in their seats, uncomfortable with the escalating ridicule. You can almost feel the room collectively hold its breath, sensing that this wasn't just a joke anymore, it was crossing a line. A sharp contrast to the actor's eager grin, Barron's calm, steady expression is becoming the focus. People start to notice. There are subtle shifts in body language as others start to sense the power of Barron's silent strength. What should have been a triumphant moment for the actor is beginning to lose its luster. The laughs that filled the room just moments ago start to quiet down. The room feels heavier now, like the air has thickened with uncertainty. Even those who initially laughed begin to second-guess their reaction, some beginning to feel a pang of regret. It's not just Barron's unflinching composure. It's the fact that the actor's jabs no longer seem to have their intended effect. His cruel words are slowly being overshadowed by Barron's dignified silence. As the energy in the room shifts, the true tension builds, and the crowd is left with an unmistakable feeling. They've witnessed something far greater than just a public mocking. They've witnessed a young man's quiet resilience, one that is starting to shift the entire dynamic in the room. The room is holding its breath. For a moment, it feels as if time itself has paused. The actor, still grinning, waits for Barron to crack, to react, to give in to the public pressure. The crowd is watching him intently, some still in disbelief, others waiting to see how he'll handle the sharp barbs thrown his way. But then Barron speaks. With a calm, measured tone that cuts through the tension like a knife, he says, "It's easy to make jokes when you don't understand the full picture." The words hang in the air for a moment, and there's a shift. Something unspoken begins to settle in the crowd. Barron's voice is not angry, nor defensive. It's confident, firm, and unshakable. It's the kind of response that you don't expect from someone his age, and yet it carries a weight that is felt immediately. The actor's smug expression falters for a fraction of a second, his eyes narrowing as if trying to process Barron's response. There's a brief moment of hesitation before he responds with another sharp remark, but Barron isn't fazed. Instead, he stands tall, his posture unyielding, a stark contrast to the actor's increasingly frantic attempts to gain the upper hand. Barron continues, his gaze unwavering, speaking directly to the crowd now. "I've been raised to stand strong, no matter the circumstance. It's easy to tear people down, but it's far harder to build others up." The actor's face tightens as the realization dawns on him. He is losing control. The crowd, which was once cheering him on, is now starting to shift. A few individuals exchange glances, some nodding at Barron's words, others shifting uncomfortably in their seats. There's an undeniable sense of respect building, not just for Barron's words, but for his unwavering poise under pressure. The actor tries once more, this time with an edge of frustration in his voice, but Barron simply lets the words pass over him. His calm demeanor remains intact. Every word he speaks carries the confidence of someone who has seen the noise and chooses to rise above it. The room, which moments ago was alive with laughter, is now filled with a stunned silence. Barron's final words, delivered with grace, cut deeper than any insult the actor could throw. "You don't have to like me. You don't even have to understand me. But I won't let your words define who I am." As the last syllable leaves his lips, a powerful shift occurs in the room. The actor's confidence evaporates. The crowd is no longer with him. And in the blink of an eye, Barron Trump has turned the tide, silencing the room. Not with aggression, but with quiet strength and undeniable wisdom. The energy in the room begins to change. The actor, who once seemed so self-assured in his mocking, now stands visibly flustered. His bravado falters with every passing second. As Barron's words echo in the air, the atmosphere shifts from one of playful mockery to palpable tension. The audience, who moments ago seemed to be on the actor's side, are now on edge, sensing a sudden turn of events. Whispers ripple through the crowd as Barron's composed, unshaken demeanor contrasts sharply with the actor's increasingly erratic behavior. The transition is subtle, but it's undeniable. The actor tries to regain control of the conversation, his voice rising with a slight tremor. "You think you're better than me?" he snaps, his tone sharp and accusatory. But his words seem to hang in the air, falling flat. The audience is no longer responding to his taunts. Instead, they're watching Barron closely, intrigued by his calm, and more importantly, impressed by his resolve. Barron remains silent for a moment, letting the weight of the actor's words pass over him. Then, with a slight shift of his stance, he speaks again. Not with defiance, but with a quiet strength that commands respect. "I don't need to prove anything to you," he says, his voice steady and deliberate. "I'm not here to compete with anyone. I'm here to be myself." The room's energy has completely transformed. Where laughter and mockery filled the air moments before, now there's a quiet reverence. Even those who once mocked Barron are beginning to soften. His words aren't just a defense, they are a declaration of his own self-worth, and it's impossible to ignore. The actor's words lose their sting, their sharpness blunted by Barron's unwavering resolve. A few heads nod in silent agreement, the subtle movement signaling a shift in loyalty. The actor's next attempt to regain his footing comes off as hollow. His eyes dart nervously around the room, seeking support, but it's too late. The crowd is no longer on his side. They're with Barron, whether they expected to be or not. The tone in the room has shifted from one of confrontation to one of quiet admiration. Barron's presence is commanding, not through aggression, but through the power of his words, his calm, and his undeniable confidence. The actor, realizing his grip on the crowd is slipping, tries to save face, but the damage has been done. The crowd is no longer laughing at Barron. They're watching him in awe, respecting his strength of character. What started as a tense encounter between two people has now transformed into something much bigger. Barron has turned the tide, with nothing but his words, his composure, and his silent confidence. The audience feels it. This is no longer just a battle of wits. This is about respect. The actor stands there, momentarily stunned, as the weight of Barron's response sinks in. The room is quiet now, with the once confident mockery having faded into something more somber. His shoulders slump ever so slightly, a sign of the first crack in his previously unshakable confidence. Barron's words linger in the air, echoing louder than the actor's jabs ever could. The actor shifts his gaze around the room. At first, he doesn't notice the change in the audience's demeanor. They're not laughing anymore. They're looking at him with judgment, confusion, and a few, perhaps, with sympathy. But as he takes in their expressions, a chill runs down his spine. He realizes that he has lost them. He was the one who had been making people laugh, basking in the attention, but now that same attention is slipping away from him. The moment of realization hits him like a ton of bricks. His eyes widen slightly, and for the briefest second, he looks down, almost as if seeking something to hold on to. The control he once had over the situation is now gone, and he knows it. The crowd, once with him, is now with Barron. They respect his composure, and they don't want to watch a grown man tear down a teenager for no reason. What had started as a cheap shot at Barron has turned into a deeper reflection for the actor. He's not sure what has happened, but he knows that the moment he mocked Barron, he crossed a line he can't come back from. The actor stares at Barron, who stands tall, unaffected by the actor's failed attempts to provoke him. Barron is still calm, his composure now the center of attention. For the first time, the actor feels small, as if Barron's quiet strength is somehow more powerful than any words or insult he could throw. He's been a part of the public eye for years, used to being the one who held the power, the one who made the jokes and received the laughs. But in this moment, Barron, with his dignified silence, has shifted the balance of power. A deep breath escapes the actor. He opens his mouth to speak, perhaps to apologize or deflect, but the words don't come. He feels the sting of humility, something foreign to him, something he wasn't prepared for. The crowd watches intently, but the actor remains silent, his mind racing to make sense of what just happened. He realizes now that the joke wasn't funny. Not anymore. It was a low blow, and Barron's reaction has made that painfully clear. The actor tries to recover, but there's no turning back. The audience's eyes have already turned toward Barron, their respect for him growing with every passing second. The actor's realization is stark. He has failed to break Barron, but in the process he's exposed his own flaws. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's one he must face. As the moment stretches on, the actor understands that what Barron displayed wasn't just strength. It was a lesson in dignity, one that he could never have anticipated. The silence in the room lingers long after Barron's composed response. The air is thick with the weight of what just transpired. The once electric atmosphere, where laughter and applause had filled the room, is now clouded with an awkward tension. The crowd, which had been eagerly waiting to see how the situation would unfold, is now quietly processing the turn of events. The actor, standing in front of Barron, is no longer the center of attention. The spotlight has shifted. A few murmurs start to ripple through the crowd, like a soft current breaking through the stillness. People are talking amongst themselves, not about the actor's joke or his attempt to belittle Barron, but about Barron's response. His calm, unshakable demeanor has left a lasting impression. Some are nodding in approval, others simply looking at him with newfound respect. The actor's words are forgotten, drowned out by the strength of Barron's character. The impact of Barron's poise resonates far louder than the actor's failed mockery. The actor, still standing frozen in place, starts to feel the weight of the room's collective gaze. He scans the audience, but no one is offering him sympathy. Their eyes have turned away from him. The laughter has faded, and what was once admiration for his wit now feels like disappointment. The actor begins to realize that the respect he once commanded has slipped away, replaced by the silent acknowledgement of Barron's quiet strength. In the back of the room, a few people exchange glances, clearly impressed by Barron's maturity. Some even begin to applaud softly, a gesture of appreciation for the young man who remained calm in the face of an attempt to provoke him. The applause grows gradually, but it's not for the actor, it's for Barron. His grace, his composure, and the way he handled an awkward situation with dignity. The actor, who moments ago was the life of the party, now stands alone in the spotlight of his own making. The realization of his misstep weighs heavily on him. He takes a deep breath and mutters something under his breath, perhaps a half-hearted attempt at recovering the situation, or perhaps just a way to escape the growing discomfort. Barron, unaffected by the commotion, stands quietly with a calm smile, knowing that his response was not about winning the crowd, but about remaining true to himself. He doesn't need to say anything more. His actions have already spoken louder than words ever could. As the room settles into a new calm, people begin to move on, but the image of Barron's unshaken response will stay with them long after the event is over. The actor will walk away from this moment, but Barron will carry the weight of this respect for much longer. Proof that in the face of mockery, grace and dignity are the ultimate victory.